Righto guys, let's have a look at this little job we're going to make up for one of my workmates. As I said, it's a foot for a stereo system, and Joe makes high-end speaker systems. It's a hobby he's got, but he's asked me if I can make up 4 of these feet for one of his units. So these are out of stainless. I've got a bit of 304 stainless I've picked up. It's a fairly straightforward looking job. This one's actually been done obviously on a CNC. But we're going to do this on the manual lathe today because my CNC is not working at the moment. I'm going to start off by machining the OD on the stick. You can see the stick over here. So he's going to machine that down to 50mm. Then I want to partially part them off and then finish them off in the bandsaw. So they're 18mm wide. Then we're going to set them up in the soft jaws, and we're going to complete the machining operations in the soft jaws. Now I've done a quick little drawing of it. Sort of printed out quite large, so very quickly it's just giving me some of my machining steps that I need to follow to get that 45 to make them all consistent all the way through, from a touch-off point coming across 6mm in the Z-axis. We've got an M10 thread that we've got to put in the bottom of that for the mounting. And as I said, we've got that 45 that we need to put on there that we're going to come across as a step of 6 once we do a touch off. Now I'm just going to hand radius these off, just break the edges on each of those corners. So not a complicated job, but they can be a little bit tricky to go with. So we'll make a start on that. Righto, so let's have a look at what we're doing. So far I've just faced it off and I've put a small centre in there just to get my live centre into place, just to give it a bit more rigidity, because we do have quite a bit of overhang on this. This is a bit of 2-inch stock. I've done a quick lick on this. I've got another 0.5mm to go to bring that down to 50mm. I've put my 200mm diameter chuck up inside because I can actually get that 2-inch bar stock down inside the snout. I can't do that with my 150mm dual chuck, my 6-inch chuck. I can only come down to the face. And my spindle nose up inside here is good for 38mm, so try to reduce and make that as rigid as I possibly can. As I said, we're going to machine that back to 50mm, and then I'm going to partially part these through to length, and we're going to finish them off in the bandsaw. Because I've got so much overhang on this, and I'm supporting off the centre here, as if I was to part all the way through, I'm going to lose that rigidity straight up. It's going to turn into a bit of a mess. So we'll part off as much as we can and then finish the rest off in the bandsaw. Then I'll set the soft jaws up. I'll chuck with the soft jaws in it. We'll do a quick machine on those and get them ready off for the final 45 facing operations and cutting that thread. Right, so we've got about 0.5mm to come off on this. We'll just check on that. This is into the 45-degree chamfer, so it's not going to see an edge mark as we come through. That's measuring up at 0.03 over the 50, so we'll just go a touch more. And so this isn't a critical diameter, it's only for a foot, but we'll get it close. So that's bang on 50. Righto. This is 304 stainless, not 316. You can probably tell by the way that the chips are coming off. If this was 316, it'd be coming off in those horrible, sharp, stringy things. But 304 is reasonably easy to machine compared to the 316 stainless series. All right, I'll get set up to do the parting off now, and we'll see how we go with that. Alright, let's see how we go with this parting off. I think 95% of the blokes that probably watch this channel dread parting off, but we'll see how we go. Let's slow it down. Alright, that's as far as I think I'll go. Now, often with parting off, sometimes you've got to do the opposite to what you feel you've got to do. And in this particular case, when it starts rubbing and vibrating and carrying on, sometimes just to give it a bit of a harder push in, just to get the cut started, is what you need to do, rather than backing off and trying to slow out on a little bit. Playing around with your speeds and feeds, I'm lucky I've got the VFD here. I can adjust my RPM. Running the coolant in here, I found that particularly on the black stuff, black smelly stuff is what it's called sometimes. I think it reduces the friction between the tip and the material sometimes, and it creates rubbing. So it seemed to cut a lot better without a coolant in place. I just used the CRC just to give it a little bit of a helping hand, but I often find that on hardened steel, if you're machining hardened ball screws, don't use coolant, because all it will do is just allow the tool to rub. As I said, it breaks down, it reduces that friction. It won't bite in, it won't cut. So you're better off trying to machine hardened stuff. I find certainly machining hardened stuff without coolant in place. Alright, well, I'll carry on and continue machining these grooves up, and then we'll come back onto the bandsaw, and hopefully we have as much success as what we had with cutting this groove. It worked out quite well, actually. Alright guys, we'll bring you back when we're getting down towards the last one. Alright, we're on to the last one now, and so far, touch wood, it's gone like an absolute treat. So we'll just finish this one down to depth. Alright guys, it's come up really well. We've got all four cut. We've got about 15mm to come off, and we'll nip them off with a bandsaw. I can always remember my father with the old Myford. That was a late 20s, early 30s. His father bought that particular Myford, and it had the rear tool post, which had the parting off tool on it. And whenever he used to start parting off, all us kids used to exit the workshop really quickly, because we knew that there was going to be all sorts of things flying around the workshop when tools got busted and bits got bent in the chuck and all sorts of carry on. So parting off for him was an absolute nightmare. So that was just with the old high-speed steel stuff, and they were very, very thin tips. They were razor blade tips from what I remember. But yeah, we didn't hang around for long when he started doing parting off. So we've got these. I'll take this out of the chuck now. We'll take it over the bandsaw and we'll nip them off. We've got about 15mm on the diameters to go. Then we'll bring it back. I'll set up the soft jaw chuck, and we'll get ready for the facing operations. Cut that 45-degree chamfer on, and we'll also do the drilling and tapping for that M10. All right, we'll see you in a sec. Right guys, so I've got to machine up a register in here on my soft jaws to be able to hold our bit of stock. Now with soft jaws, if you're doing machining up to set them up for stock, you've got to put some load on the jaws, and I've got all sorts of different size washers that I use, and they're very, very simple. Put them into your jaw, load them up, and then machine out the diameter to suit the stock that you want to put into it. And also with soft jaws, I actually mark my chuck with a centre pop mark to line up with the centre pop mark that I've got on the nose of my lathe. So this soft jaw goes in exactly the same way every time. And I've got different diameters in here that I continually use for different operations, for different items that I manufacture. And putting it back the same way each time on the nose ensures that I keep that concentricity. Alright, well, we've got our washer in here. We've got it loaded down on the chuck, or the chuck jaw is loaded down onto it. We'll just machine out this ID. I know, it's fitting up beautifully, so we'll leave it at that. And we'll get set up for our facing and drilling and tapping operations first. Righto, so we've got this mounted up in the soft jaws now. What I've done, just on the back edge here with a file, I've just put a little arris around that to accommodate for the radius that the tool would have left in that corner. I want it to push up hard against the back to make sure that we keep that dead square to the OD. Right, we'll make a cut. I know, it's come for a beautiful finish, even though you're not going to see this side. I'm assuming this is the side that's going to be screwed up on the underside of the table. But we'll drill and tap that. I'm just going to put the arris on here, or that radius on there, just by hand with the file, and we'll use a bit of fine emery to finish it off. Well, before we do that, we'll get this drilled and tapped. Right, so we've got an 8.5mm drilling for our M10 tap. So I'm going to go 14mm deep, and I'm just going to do it off the collar of the tailstock. Right, we've got our M10 tap, and I've got our centre sprung centre into that. And once again, we're using our spiral taps here. back here. And stainless is an absolute muggle to cut. I might try a bit of tapping magic on this. You can see those tips being ejected out as we cut, rather than being jammed down on the bottom with our conventional style taps. That tap magic makes a big difference. And that's it, right down to bottom. Yes, I don't think many people like working in stainless. It's very wearing, very hard stuff to work with. Alright. Right, we'll just go up inside that and we'll slightly deburr it. That's nice. Okay, on this edge here, I'm just going to take that off with a file and just a light emery just to get that a nice little radius on there. So I'll do that off camera. We'll come back when we've got it turned around, ready to face to width, and cut in that 45. So I've got that faced off to width now, so it should be pretty much bang on 18. This is what the existing one is. Yeah, 18.02. I won't worry about the 0.02. Right, I've put a little pip in here. The original one has a little pip in here. And I can only think that's put in there for the tool to run out, so that it's not running into the center there and leaving a little raised spot. So that's the only reason I can see they've got that little pip in there, so I've done the same in here. Alright, we'll set up and we'll cut this 45 next. Alright guys, we're back just cutting the 45 into here, so I've already done one which I've completed. Which is that one there. And I'm really pleased with how that's come up. So what I've done is I've just zeroed off, just done a touch on that corner. So I've got my Digi readout zeroed up, and I just bring the the Z axis along until I hit 6mm, and then I know that it's exactly the same as the original and the one I've just completed. That's it done. Alright, just off camera I'm going to just radius these edges off, and we'll continue on. I did go through and complete all of these off to thickness and put the little tips in there already, just to do the final 45 on each one. So one setup, everything gets done in one setup. Makes it a lot quicker and a lot easier. Alright, well I'll radius that out and come back when they're all done. Righto, there we go. So they're all finished now. And yeah, really happy with the way that they've come up. That's the original that we started with, that we measured off, and that's how it came up. I did message Joe to find out if that dimple in the middle has any purpose. I thought maybe it was a point that sat in it when they were in position, but no, there's no purpose for it at all other than aesthetics. So not critical, so done. Alright, you should be happy with those. Alright guys, well we're going to get back into the lathe slaughter. So I've got some material for the ram. We're doing that out of black bar, so I don't have to worry about it moving around as much as what the bright bar does when we're working with that. So alright, well we'll wrap this one up and call that a winner. Alright guys, we'll see you soon.